Alex Leak and Friends NFL podcast back for another week. I'm your host, Alex Leak. We got Dustin on the show as usual. What up, Dustin?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
Yo, and we got Pablo back on the show. Pablo, first time on video. Good to have you on, bro.
Yeah, thank you, man, for having me. It's a pleasure, as always, speaking with you. And thanks for having me on, man.
Absolutely. It's always good, always fun talking football with you. And being a Ravens fan, that's why I messaged you. I was like, we got to have an emergency pod. We got to talk about this. Roquan
Yeah,
Smith going to your
100%.
team. What were your thoughts? How excited were you to see the trade go down?
I'm not exactly sure where I was. Maybe I was just like somewhere when I got the notification. I'm gassed. I'm over the moon. We always want to add quality for your defense, and obviously the Ravens fans wanted someone on offense. But we take Roquan Smith anytime, any day. Is a great player. He's a special player, especially with the Ravens missing that type of impact linebacker in the middle of the defense. So will surely help a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm gassed, and I'm pretty sure Ravens flock are gassed as well.
They should be. I mean, as a Bears fan, I've followed Roquan Smith since Georgia, and as a Bears fan, I was mad. I was livid when Dustin messaged me because I didn't get the notification yet. Dustin messaged me. Multiple people have been messaging me through the week saying like Roquan's gonna go to the Eagles, and I'm like, get out of here. And then it finally happens, and I was so mad. He's one of my favorite players, and the Ravens are getting a steal, like getting a great player. And it's nice to see, the Ravens seem to be going all in, trying to contend for a championship. Dustin, how do you see it affecting the Ravens? Does this make them a championship contender?
Absolutely. I mean, they were, in my opinion, a championship contender before he got there, just
Mhm.
because, but they just started slow. They had a slow start, and we seen how good they could be against Tampa Bay this past week. So, but adding him to me, like I told you earlier, is just like when AJ Brown went to the Eagles. It's a game changing, it's very game changing.
Yeah,
Yeah, and the history, obviously, the history of the Ravens here, it's always led by defense, and we've always been a defensive-led franchise, and obviously, I had the Ravens actually winning the Super Bowl back in August before kickoff, before week one,
uh,
and this basically just like instills a little bit of confidence in my prediction, and hopefully go get that ring because we know it has been weighing on Lamar's mind for 5 years. Obviously, it's the first thing he said once he got drafted in 2018, and it's been a long time coming. We have veterans on the roster. We have Justin Houston, Calais Campbell as well. Those guys need rings, and hopefully this is the year. We know we're not the favorites, and no one would even put the Ravens in that conversation. But hopefully we fly under the radar and go host that Lombardi in February.
mhm. Yeah, I mean, also veteran Justin Houston has been playing pretty well for you guys. He had 2 sacks on Thursday night, 6 on the season, so that's nice to see. Who do you
Yeah.
see? I mean, who's the biggest obstacle in the Ravens' way? Is it the Buffalo Bills? Is that it?
For me, obviously we like the last time we faced them in the playoffs, they kicked us pretty bad. I remember it was like 20 to 3 in Buffalo, and Lamar obviously ended the game with a concussion. And obviously they're the team to beat. I think they're for sure going to be the number one seed in the AFC. And to get to the Super Bowl, you need to get past them. But I think for me, the major thing with the Ravens, we might mention the Bills and the Chiefs, but the major thing with the Ravens is you have to make sure that basically we don't stop ourselves, because that has been the case in the past few weeks. Granted, getting those two back-to-back wins is crucial for the team and for the momentum, but basically Ravens, the players need to make sure that they stack those up.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to come down to, every championship contender has to have good luck, good health, all that. And hopefully that's the case. And yeah, they can compete with anybody, in my opinion. And I'd love
Yeah.
to see it. Chiefs, Bills, and it starts with winning the division, getting that home playoff game, and building from there. So, um,
Yeah.
Dustin, you said something about the Bills trying to upgrade. They got your guy, running back Naheem Hines, from the Colts, along with the Matt Ryan benching. How are you feeling about your Colts right now?
Oh man, this is it's crazy. But first of all, the Bills don't know what they got until they utilize him. Man, he's a hell of a player, and he's the weapon that the Bills needed, in my opinion, to go over the top.
That's a pretty nice combo, Devin Singletary and now Naheem Hines.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, as for the Colts, well, we fired our offensive coordinator this past week, so that's step one. I think we're just trying to make it through the season, and Frank will be gone, and then we'll decide our future.
Pablo, what did you think of the Matt Ryan move? I see it as, along with the firing of the offensive coordinator, I see it as Frank Reich trying to save his job, knowing that he's on the hot seat and he's getting fired soon. How did you see it going down in Indy?
Yeah, I think Dustin just said Frank Reich will be gone by the end of the year. That's a bold
Yep.
prediction. We'll see. We'll see what Arce has to say about that. But for me, I think it's something that obviously it's tough. I agree with you. You can see where Frank Reich is coming from. Like obviously getting rid of his staff and changing the quarterback. Maybe is shifting the attention to that, and obviously from the away from the fact that the Colts are 3-4 to start the year. And obviously bringing in Ryan, that was massive for them, and he was supposed to be the quarterback to get them over the hump. That hasn't happened yet. It's a case of obviously he has had, I think he has had a new starter every single year, and it might be a case of he's trying to save his job, but we basically just have to wait and see if actually Sam Ellinger will save his job, because
Yeah.
basically his start didn't go well, obviously against the Commanders on Sunday,
And
and
then and then trading away Hines, that doesn't help.
yeah, for sure. And obviously we know Jonathan Taylor is also not 100%. And
Yeah.
obviously without that run game and without a passing game that you can rely on, it's all doom and gloom for Indianapolis right now. Yeah.
um, Dustin, being a Notre Dame fan, how do you see? I'm sure you're a Chase Claypool fan. He's struggled. He's been all right in Pittsburgh, but never more than 62 catches in a season. On pace for about the same this year. How do you feel about the move for Claypool getting traded to the Chicago Bears? Now he's going to play with Justin Fields, likely be his number one option at receiver, along with Darnell Mooney. Do you think this is a much better situation for Chase Claypool, and do you think he'll be impactful in Chicago?
I do, for the simple fact that when he was in Pittsburgh, there is already two guys who could easily be number one with Pickens and Deontay Johnson. So
Yeah.
I think he was a little bit overshadowed and underutilized in Pittsburgh. If he go to Chicago, Justin Fields got a guy who I think he's going to use very well. You mentioned 62 receptions in a season. Well, the Bears as a team, I think, have what, 50 receptions as a team?
Feels like
Yeah.
it.
So I think he's going to make you guys be a little bit better.
Yeah, what do you think of that move, Pablo? You like Claypool to the Bears?
I love Claypool as a player. I think I'm just so used to him being a Pittsburgh Steeler. It will be weird for me seeing him wearing that Chicago jersey, but
Yeah.
I like him 100% as a player. Obviously, he had a massive rookie year. That's when I first fell in love with him. I think he had 11 TDs. I remember he had 4 touchdowns against the Eagles, and he was
Wow.
basically supposed to be the best receiver for the Steelers since AJ Brown, or maybe since Deontay Johnson. I'm not exactly sure. Basically, I don't want Steelers fans to come at me here, but I love Claypool. I love basically the move for Justin Fields. It makes a lot of sense for them to actually go get a receiver for him. Someone said something along the lines that he's playing with high school gym teachers for receivers, which I laughed at. It was hilarious. But for me, I think Fields needs a lot of help, and obviously I think basically what Ryan Pauls is trying to do for him and for the future, I think it makes some sense to add a receiver now, and maybe they can go ahead and add some more receivers in the draft, maybe next year or the following year.
Yeah, this move to get Claypool did a lot to ease my mind. Once we traded Roquan, it was like, this is already a bottom 30 roster, talent wise, and you're getting rid of the best player, at least on defense, if not the best player on the team. So I was really upset when Roquan was traded, but bringing in Chase Claypool now shows me that they are at least trying to help Fields. The offseason was so disappointing. I'm not an Equinamia St. Brown fan or Dante Pettis or even Velus Jones, but Chase Claypool's he's got real potential. He should be wide receiver 1 the minute he steps on the field. And I like that. That's getting Justin Fields help. So I can rock with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and you could always use a big target in the red zone. That always helps. That always
Yeah,
helps.
absolutely. But on the other side of this, the Packers, Dustin, what do you think of this? The Packers offered for Chase Claypool the same offer as the Bears. Yeah, the Steelers chose the Bears offer because assuming the Bears were going to have a worse record than the Packers at the end of the season. The Packers also called about Broncos receiver Jerry Jeudy, according to their insider Benjamin Albright. So the Packers tried apparently to get Jerry Jeudy or Chase Claypool for Aaron Rodgers, struck out on both, and are what's their record? What are they, 3-5?
Yeah, they're 3-5.
And a tough game, a losable game coming up in Detroit. How are you feeling about the Packers and still not getting any help for Aaron Rodgers?
Man, to be honest, it pisses me off because Aaron Rodgers, as everybody knows, is my favorite quarterback, and he does not deserve the treatment he's getting. I mean, come on, man. Get your superstar a star, Get him some help. Don't leave him hanging, but hey, I mean, got to make moves. OBJ's available. T.Y. Hilton's available. Come on, Packers.
They never make moves. In the history of the franchise, they never make big moves, especially at the receiver position. What do you think, Pablo? I mean, you got Aaron Rodgers. Shouldn't you be in win championship mode right now? Every year you got Aaron Rodgers, especially this late in his career.
Yeah, they are so used to being 7-1 at this stage in the season. 3-5
right?
is new to them. Yeah, like I think like we spoke about this, I think, on the third world perspective a little while back. Brian Gutekunst basically should be under pressure right now. I think Packers fans are a little bit frustrated. Obviously, I think trading away Devontae Adams was maybe fans could actually get um, used to the idea because a bunch of draft picks actually went the other way, and those draft picks weren't used to go up there and get a receiver. But with that being said, Aaron Rodgers himself, like he got a $150 million deal, fully guaranteed, 3 years, 50 million. I think that also didn't help in terms of actually giving the team the money to work with and going up there and getting someone like, I don't think OBJ will go to the Packers, but I think that Aaron Rodgers also getting that deal done didn't help his case for them to actually go there and get a receiver of that caliber.
Yeah, I agree. It's an interesting move. I think it was a mistake. You seeing Devontae Adams go, and honestly, the biggest loss might be Zadarius Smith, and he goes to your division rival. And so all the signs were pointing to the Packers rebuilding and going with Jordan Love. If I was Aaron Rodgers, whatever Green Bay did to convince me to stay, I would not have listened to it, and I would have gone to Denver or tried to go to San Francisco, and where they're much better positioned to contend for championships. And at this point, when you don't upgrade in the trade deadline, it feels like Green Bay is not even trying to win. And they might lose. They might fall to 3-6 on Sunday against those Lions.
Yeah, I don't think that'll happen. I don't think that'll happen.
It'd be fun if it does, though.
It will be. I'm not saying the Lions winning against Green Bay on Sunday, but I'm thinking I think just this is my opinion. Obviously, Rogers is Dustin's favorite quarterback, but I think I also think his Rogers's mentality is not the same as maybe Brady's or like these other quarterbacks that basically want to win Super Bowls every year. I think for him, he's content with actually being the best quarterback in Green Bay franchise history, in the Packers franchise's history, and I think that's probably why he didn't sign with Denver. That's why he probably basically signed an extension and decided to stay on. I think he's someone that obviously we've seen the media report about how special he is and how basically he is a special type of person. You have to handle him differently from other players. But I think he's so used to comfort he would never move.
That's not a good spot to be in.
Yeah.
Dustin, uh, you know what would help Aaron Rodgers' case for best quarterback in Packers history? One more championship, right? Brett Favre's got one. Bart Starr's got a couple. You gotta get a couple more, Aaron.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, by the way, so the two teams that you brought up that the Packers were trying to trade for,
Yeah.
weren't those were the same two teams who were trying to get him at quarterback. So
Yep. The Steelers, you know,
was it them saying, "Well, you didn't want to come to Pittsburgh, so
we're not
we
gonna
don't."
give you help.
Yeah,